This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, okay. To start with, this is Meghna. So I have an overall experience of 7 years, and that is my overall experience with OpenText VIM, and archive server, OCR, and VIM implementations, upgrade and support projects. So in my tenure, I have handled various, again, implementation, upgrade, and support projects for OpenText VIM, ICC, BCC, IES implementations as well. So this is basically, to start with my, you know, introduction. So can you also share your experiences? Like, are you from a SAP background, or you're completely new to VIM? I think Shahida, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, Meghna. Hi, Meghna. This is Shaida. Yeah, I have experience, 7.5 year experience in SAP VIM end user, and I'm working with a Indian MNC company with the same experience only, relevant experience also, same SAP VIM. And now I'm planning to shift this one SAP VIM as a consultant to learn the functionalities. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, Meghna. Is this audible?
Yeah. Yeah, you were audible. Sorry, I was talking on it. So that's what I think. Okay, as an end user, you have a very good experience. I think into the processing of invoice in when you're much aware, right?
Yes, Meghna. From DP creation to payment, end to end, I have a knowledge on it as a say P2P.
Right. Got it. Good. So I think, yeah, Neha, can you also start introducing yourself, please?
Yeah, hi. And this is
Hello.
Nia. Yeah. I live in UK and currently I'm on break. Well, previously I was working in Infosys and I have total 5 years experience in SAP MDM and SAP
Mhm.
also certified in SAP MM. And now I want to get certified in SAP VIM because in UK it's in demand. So I'm not getting in job SAP MM or MDM. So and daily I'm getting a job for SAP VIM, but I don't have much experience in this. That's why I just want to
Got it.
learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. I think, yeah, I think you all have SAP backgrounds. That is a great advantage in understanding VIM.
Yeah.
And let us also wait for one more person. Actually, he's having some audio issue. If
Yeah.
he is joining, we can start up with the presentation. Okay, I think Lalit is here. Hello, Lalit.
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
You are able to hear. We are also able to hear you.
Uh,
Yeah, great. Actually, we just started with introducing ourselves. I think
Sure.
we are waiting for you. Can you also just introduce yourself, Lalit? Your
Yes.
work experience. Yeah.
Yes, I got 10 years of experience. Currently
Mhm.
working in until 6 months I was working in ENY. Uh, so I was working in the retail actually, not in MM and other things. So I applied for one visa. My friends told that it will be good if you learn VIM and other things. So and one of my friends also suggested that in Methodex, okay, one good faculty is there, very experienced with multiple modules. So you learn. So I just so I searched in the YouTube also the videos and I found it liking. So I just thought of joining this batch. That's all from my side.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Lalit. So yeah, I think we can start with the demo session today. We will have a very high-level overview of them, as we also have, we have a mix of, SAP background people and non-SAP, background people as well. We will have very high-level introduction on them.
Sure.
So, Shahida messaged. Any issues, Shahida? Okay, is my voice clear for others? Hello.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is clear for me.
I think
Meghna, I'll
some,
leave the call and I'll rejoin the call again.
yeah, please. I think there is some issue from your end. If it is possible, please rejoin. Okay, we'll give 1 more minute so that Shahida will be back. Shahida, are you back? I hope you can hear now. Shahida, can you confirm?
Yes, Meghna.
Okay, great. So we'll just start with, again, a high-level introduction on VIM, and we will just see the process overview and also some benefits of VIM and some, the course content as well. We will try to cover it. So as you all, I think, know, like to start with, VIM is vendor invoice management. That is, VIM stands for vendor invoice management. So, like, why do we use a VIM, and what are the benefits of using VIM? That we will just try to understand in this session. So we also have, the SAP standard transactions, where in the SAP standard, Miro and FB60 postings of invoices can be done. But VIM is an open text has designed VIM, and we are using it, which very well integrates with SAP and automates the processing. So nowadays, if we see, every organization, wants to automate their processes. So here, automation means, here in VIM, it basically integrates, like, automation of the indexing, where the AP processor do not need to manually input everything, uh, and where it basically minimizes the manual effort in the invoice processing, I mean, whole end-to-end P2P processing. So here, in them, what do we have is that, this is, again, it very well integrates with SAP. That is a great advantage, and it solves the business problem, by paying very correct amount and accurate, payments can be done within time, and also with the lowest cost. So basically, thousands of invoices can be, if you see, WIM can handle thousands of invoices every day, on day-to-day basis. So it is very beneficial for other clients to process like n number of invoices in a day, and make a timely payments, and within with the accurate amounts, and within the timelines. So that is the greatest advantage we have with Vim. And also in Vim we have many controls that can be done, in terms of validations, or in terms of exception handlings, where we can put in many controls and customizations that can be done within Vim according to the business requirements. I mean, each client may have a different business requirement, and accordingly the customizations can be done, and more controls can be introduced in Vim. Rather than, as I told, we also have the SAP standard processes to follow for posting the invoices, but with Vim we have very much advanced and additional controls that can be done. Actually, yeah, I mean, feel free to stop me at any point of time, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. So again, continuing with this, like Vim, like I mean, it also what it does is, like if certain information is available in certain different transactions within SAP, that information also it can be called into the Vim screen. Okay, so these are some few advantages that are with Vim. And coming to one more advantage is that Vim can automate the vendor invoice processing as much as we can automate it, and it can solve the business problems in putting in terms of putting the validations in the system. So for example, one of that advantage is that we can route the invoices to multiple team members or users from different teams. For suppose there is an AP processor or AP team that processes the invoices. If AP processor is having any query regarding a PO invoice, then he can very well route it to the PO buyer within the Vim screen itself. That means multiple teams are coming into picture with one solution here. So within Vim we handle even not only the PO or PO buyer. If we can also get in touch with various tax teams. If an AP processor who is processing the invoice has any issues related to the taxing related. I mean, I mean, if he is not aware of which tax code to be used for which tax rate, or any related to the taxing related queries, he can route it to the tax expert. So these are all various roles that can be integrated into the Vim itself. Similarly, master data team, they can get in touch with the master data team and get the relevant information regarding the vendors, or regarding the management. Again, BP related or vendor relevant data can be extracted. So again, as I told, this is like good advantage. And here we also have the archival, where every invoice that is coming into the Vim is getting stored into the archive server. That means we have a very good track, and if it is archived or stored, we can retrieve that particular invoice at any point of time. Whereas standard SAP do not have this functionality, where archival or the storage is happening, and at any point of time we can retrieve that particular invoice, even though it is years earlier that has been processed. And again, archive server integration with Vim also we will see in coming sessions how it is exactly integrated. And again, there is one more a tool called OCR. We'll also look into that, because that also helps the automation in Vim, where OCR means optical recognition, optical character recognition. That means it is a separate, again, OpenText relevant tool, where it extracts the invoice data from the image itself and gets extracts into the relevant fields, whereas the automation in the indexing is done at this point of time. That means, to tell in a simple terminology, if suppose we have an invoice and we have some amount and we have some vendor name, amount, and net amount, tax amount, and some bank related information that we get on the invoice copy. So that all, usually what AP have to do is, like AP team or who is the person who is processing the invoice have to do is, they have to manually input everything into the VIM to process. But OCR here automates that by extracting the information on the invoice image into the fields automatically. That means if we are just pushing the invoice into the OCR, then the automatically the fields gets extracted with the help of this tool. So we also have got advanced OCR tools, as well as which integrates with VIM HANA versions. Coming to this particular slide, we have what we discussed, like VIM very well integrates with SAP technology, where VIM handles with everything. Complete backend coding is done with ABAP, whereas in VIM, how the exceptions are handled, workflows are handled, we have the ABAP workflow, and VIM uses this technologies basically in the backend to run. And coming to this, these are some versions, like these are 20, 21.4 from 16 versions are HANA versions, as you might be aware. Whereas 7.5, those are old dated versions. And we have also got 23 point version, actually, the latest version. And it supports, I think, more than I'll just update this slide before I share till when the latest version of VIM is supported. So yeah, any queries until now? Please let me know. Okay.
No.
Fine. Yeah, I will continue. So this is like it is a complete end-to-end requisition to the pay process, that how the, I mean, in P2P processing, usually we have, for suppose we a company needs 100 laptops, they need to raise a requisition first, and that requisition, it will go in the organization, it goes to their budget holder approval. They give the approval. He is kind of approver who approves that particular requisition for 100 laptops. Once the requisition is approved, then we order. Okay, that is called the purchase order, where we raise a purchase order and we order the laptops to the vendor. So here what happens, once a purchase order is raised with the 100 laptops, then the vendor sends the 100 laptops we have ordered, right? So the vendor sends 100 laptops to the organization. Now here is where uh, goods receipt is done, where they check each and every whatever is received once from the order. A person checks if they have received correct amount, or correct quantity of goods that are ordered. There can be sometimes only 50 laptops are reached, then they perform the goods receipt for those received goods. So once the goods receipt is done, then the payment, how the payment is being done, because while sending the goods, the vendor is also sending the invoice for that goods. So we are getting the goods. Once the goods are all checked, goods receipt will be performed, that is called GR, and then there is the invoice also that is received from the vendor that needs to be processed to the payment. So basically, if you have some idea, I mean, we have some, who have worked in MN earlier. I think they will be aware how the requisition is raised and sent for the approvals, then or purchase order gets created. MM consultants are the ones responsible to look into all this, background technical persons. Like we are the VIM consultants, and MM consultants will look into like if there is any issue with the creating, requisitions in the system or something, automatically the approvals are not getting triggered. Then he is the person who looks after this, MM processing. So coming to the next step, we have the finance part here. If you see, now the payment is pending, right? So how the payment needs to be done? Here is where our VIM is playing a key role. Whereas the that oh, I think conference got recorded now. Okay, fine. I don't know if it was being recorded earlier. Fine. All right. I think it was broken in between. Anyways. So as I told, after the procurement, we call this the processing as procurement, and we address the payment related as the finance. So VIM is acting like a bridge between the procurement and the finance. So if we are working in real time projects also, we will have very close interactions with the MM consultants and the finance consultants, so that we have the proper requirement gathering can be done from the VIM perspective as well. So yeah, here is where, as I told, the VIM comes into picture, where the scanning is happening. The electronic image of the invoice is being pushed into the system, and then where if OCR is there, then yes, it automates the indexing of the fields where the amounts and the purchase order details are filled into the invoice. I mean, in the VIM fields as well. So the check against the PO, this also, like for a PO invoice, for suppose the check is done against the PO and the invoice that is being received from the vendor. So invoice is coming from the vendor, they check the amount and the quantity. They also check the PO against the PO, if the quantity and the value in the PO is correct. So here is where the comparison is happening between the PO raised and the invoice received. So if there is any discrepancy, then obviously if PO is raised for suppose 10 quantity, or again we'll take 100 laptops for example, and we have received for suppose by mistake there is a invoice received for 150 laptops, then here is the check that happens. Um, the invoice is received for a greater quantity, so obviously the system blocks the payment. So there is also a blocking a workflow that is available in VIM itself, where it is blocked if there is an exceeding quantity or exceeding value that is coming on the invoice. So again, if there are any discrepancies, then there is a mismatch happening, then the blocking happens. Otherwise, if the quantity and the value is matching with the invoice and the PO, then it goes to the next stage where the review happens, and then the payment run. This is mostly related to the finance, and this is not basically VIM. So VIM in detail, we will see the process overview in the next slide. This is again, as mentioned, this is requisition to the payment, and uh, here as well, any questions, please let me know.
No, thank you.
Fury apps regarding in VIM also.
We do have the Fiori apps in Vim as well, where there is a Vim workplace where AP team is processing, right? So we have Fiori app for a workplace. We have for the validation, for approvals. So there are standard Fiori apps available for the Vim.
So you'll be touching upon them also in the sessions.
Yes, sure. I can touch up, but actually the system where we are working on, I mean, the Fiori app integration is not available. The test system which we are going to work, it is I think 7 point version of Vim available. But I can definitely, if you are interested, a session I can take up where, as a theoretical presentation, I can, share my experience where previously where I have worked for, integrating the Fiori apps. Standard ones, basically, it's pretty simple where the technical help will be required, obviously, for us to, integrate them with Vim. Yeah. We can take it up as a session. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, I'll take it as a no. Okay, and continue with this. So basically, we have seen again very high level, overview of requisition to the pay process. But in detail, if we see the Vim processing, you know, these are the basically the steps, in the overall process of Vim. These are the basically the steps that are included. Where it starts with invoice, what do we call, invoice scan, where we, as I told, like vendor sends us the invoice either in the form of hard copy or in the form of mail. Mail is a soft copy, and if a soft copy is there, then directly, in the channel processing, we can integrate the email channel and we will receive the invoices. But if the vendor is sending a hard copy, then we can definitely scan that particular invoice and convert into a electronic image or the PDF, and then push it into the system. So here is where it starts with the scan. So we also have here, I want to just tell you, there is a scanner called enterprise scanner, which can be used by the clients. Uh, that is also the OpenText relevant tool, enterprise scanner. There are also third-party tools where many organizations use a different scanning tools for scanning the invoices. But again, enterprise scan is something that is OpenText recommended one. Um, yeah, we can also, I mean, when we touch up the channels, we will also know more on enterprise scan and yeah, related config. So once the invoice again is scanned and converted into a PDF, then it goes into a storage. That means the archive server. So whatever the invoice is coming into the system, or whatever the invoice that is received by us is being archived or stored in a repository, or we can call it as a huge database where huge volumes of data can be stored. That is called the archive server. So we will also see, like in future sessions, you will understand, we will also integrate this archive server with our Vim, archive doc types, creating them, how we do it. We will exactly see in coming sessions. But again, just a high level understanding, whatever the invoices are coming as a form of, they are converted into the electronic format, and then everything is getting stored into this repository. Again, repository or archive server, it is the same. We also call it as content repository or archive server. Both are same, but the terminology is different. So that is where it gets stored. And this also links with image. Yeah. So this gets stored into the archive server, and we also link some business objects like once the invoice is posted in VIM, there are two documents that will be generated. That is the document and the FI document. Document is nothing but for a PO document, we will have once our invoice is posted, we have the reference of that document for the payment further. So similarly, for a non-PO invoice, non-purchase order invoices, we have the FI document that will be generated with a unique, unique accounting document number. Uh, that will be further taken, as a reference for the payment. So these and FI documents also, if we open those documents for the further payment, payment, we will be able to see the same invoice image. That is where the linkage is happening actually. So within VIM also, we can go into the VIM and with a particular date, like for suppose in 2023 January, we had some invoice that has come into the system. Then with that particular date and the supplier number, if we are tracking that particular invoice, then the image is being retrieved. Image will be retrieved in the SAP. Actually, I don't have the SAP screen. In from the next session, we will also go into the SAP and I can show you, practically. Actually, in this laptop, I do not have that. I will just in the coming sessions, so we can go into the screen and see it practically. So the image will be retrieved in VIM with the help of this archive server linkage. So how the configuration is done, how we are linking it so that the image is retrieved at any point of time, we'll be seeing in the again when we go into the configuration sessions in coming classes. Here we have the OCR. Next step. Okay, once the invoice came, it got scanned, it is stored, and at any point of time we have also linked with the document, FI document, and VIM document, and then later this is going into the OCR. OCR is again, any of you have any idea, I mean, have any working experience on OCR? Just I mean Shahida may have, because
Yeah.
she, yeah.
Yes, completely will not do this OCR. Just will they will give the scanned invoice.
Okay, I think there is a separate validation tool who
Yeah.
handles the OCR part. And okay, got it. So yes, it. I mean, in many organization that is there. Like AP processors also does sometimes, or separate validation team is also there who handles only OCR image. I mean invoices. So whatever is coming, we are also sending it to the OCR. Here is where optical character recognition, because as I mentioned earlier, whatever is coming on the invoice is getting extracted. I mean, the metadata from the invoice image is getting extracted into the basically fields, OCR fields. It will be similar to the like SAP screen, where we get the image on the right side, and left side we have all the fields like vendor, company code, gross amount, net amount, bank account, IBAN, and certain header informations. Okay, so everything currently OCR means the OpenText related OCR tools are ICC, BCC, and IES. But ICC is again outdated. It is only compatible with the very older versions of SAP, and it is no more compatible with the newer versions of SAP. So currently we have BCC and IES. So BCC also is is a kind of older version, whereas IES, Information Extraction Services, BCC means Business Capture Center. So these are the OCR tools. So IES is something very latest tool that that has very good capturing, very good recognition or automation, where mostly like 90% of the fields will be automatically extracted, whereas they have to the validation team just have to validate and submit it, whereas BCC has a lesser efficient, I would say a lesser efficient than IES, because IES is having the machine learning techniques, uses the machine learning techniques to capture the the field related data from the invoice image. So just remember, BCC is older version and IES is the latest uses the machine learning technologies to extract the information from the uh, invoice copies. So again, basically overall we call all these as OCR tools, optical character recognition. The name itself tells that every character is getting recognized from the invoice image, and BCC and IES are the OCR tools. Any of them can be used, either BCC or IES, based on the compatibility with our VIM versions. So usually if we are going to implement a new project, then that is where we will see like which versions are being used and what is exactly compatible with the which version of archive server or which version of OCR is compatible. We'll check that and proceed with the implementation. So once the as I told, OCR part is done, here is where they submit the validation team submits the invoices in the OCR tool. Here is where the VIM, here is where the invoice is ready in the VIM workplace for the AP team to process it further. So what here in VIM, what happens is the AP team opens the invoice. If there is OCR, yes, some information is already present or indexed into the VIM screen. Otherwise, the AP will manually also input the informations, like whether if it is a PO number is correct or not, the amounts are correct or not, many fields which are all there in VIM will be integrated by the AP processors. And then if everything is okay, that if everything matches well with if it is a PO, then they obviously check with the PO, and if there is a GR done or not, for the correct quantity and PO, and if the amounts are correct, quantities are correct, the PO vendor and the invoice vendor are same or not, and if a PO uh, again so many checks, whatever is there according to the business requirement in VIM we are doing. If everything is correct, then they uh, process or then they post the invoice. If there is some discrepancy, then they will again trigger it to various teams and get the confirmations, and various workflows will be triggered, as I told in the initial benefits of VIM which we discussed. Like it can be triggered to any team, if they have some vendor related data, AP processor reach outs to triggers them to the master data team, or if it requires some approvals. For suppose PO, we only have one level of approval, basically as per standard in VIM. But for non-purchase orders, we have multiple levels, up to 10 levels also. So approvals needs to be triggered before the posting happens. Then that workflows can be triggered. And once everything is done, again, and also every clarification is done from multiple teams, and if everything looks good, then the posting or the processing in VIM will be complete with the posted status. So again, very high level I am just explaining. Any queries, please let me know.
Nothing, Meghna.
Mhm. And as these are all again, basically I have included further points, what are the benefits of VIM, and how the controls are happening in VIM, with the exceptions and workflows, and how it is helping some like I think what I have mentioned, sorry, integrate seamlessly. Yeah, the same thing which we have discussed earlier, like how well it integrates and how well the controls are placed in Vim. I have just included here. So terminologies also, whatever I have just used, I have just given their explanations, like the scanning purpose, what is the enterprise scan, what is OCR, and what is ICC and archive server, just I will also share this PPT or slides with you, so that you can refer at any point of time for what are this terminologies called. Usually we use it in our next sessions. DP document means it is a Vim document where we are every document that we or invoice that we handle in Vim, we call it as a DP document, that is document processing. So we'll have a unique number, whichever is coming into the Vim system is identified, which I mean every invoice is identified with a unique DP ID. So this is the unique number that will be used in Vim. Again, we have the document types. I think we will have this we'll have this understanding in the next sessions in detail. We will be having a separate many classes where we discuss on the DP document types, whatever in detail we will be having. And I have also included like what is the OCR part, like what exactly is that, where I have mentioned ICC, BCC, IES, what it does, and where how I mean that there is also a concept called training. We will again look into in detail when we cover the OCR part of session. Mm. So I think whatever I explained, I have also tried to do it in a various stages in Vim. How the it starts, image capture, and again the OCR part, validation of the data, and then creation of SAP document, and the posting if there are some approvals, and then Vim analytic report, where we are seeing all the where we are this is like universal report in Vim, where each and every invoice history we can track within this report itself. So I think this T codes, it will be better that if we have a SAP system in the next class, we can go into each T codes, basic T codes of Vim, and see, where exactly what is happening. Whatever I have told you also, like where exactly this indexing is happening, where exactly we are able to see the, image, and how exactly the AP team will input the, data. We can just see the overall view. This is the course content, basically what we will cover in detail. Okay. So what I mean, I think yeah, we will start up with the configurations as well. Again, overview. I think I have just told you theoretically, and in the next session we will go into the system and see the the overview part once again. And we'll also then next we'll start up with the configuration in Vim, where the PO for the PO and the NPO processing, and also the approval workflow, and for PO the blocking workflows, and yeah, basically end to end. We'll also cover what are all the basic reports and background jobs that are included, and also we'll cover the theoretical part of OCR as well. And the last session, I think we'll also cover the interview preparation. Like I think Subbu will update you, like if there are any openings, he will be updating. We'll also plan some interview questions, and answers what we expect in the Vim interviews.
Uh, Meghna, here ABAP, what it will work, how it will work here, why ABAP will come here?
See, basically, whatever the Vim, works on, like Vim basically works on the workflows, right? I mean, for example, we have the many business rules, okay, within Vim. How the logic I mean, how those are getting triggered. For suppose we are receiving an invoice, and for suppose the vendor is invalid. So in VIM we have an exception or error that will trigger called vendor, invalid vendor. So how that gets triggered? Because background there is a logic there. Whereas we are giving it in the form of function modules, classes, programs within the VIM. So we as a functional consultant need to understand the VIM processing so that we can connect with the ABAPers to build these logics. Getting my point?
That's it.
Like
We will not work on ABAP, right?
no,
Here
we do not
just
work. We do not work on
okay.
ABAP. Only as functional consultant, we need to understand the business requirement. For suppose business is telling that at this point of time we need an exception called invalid vendor. Then how? I mean, basically, I am just giving you the standard one only. The standard ones are all already there in the systems. Just as a functional consultant, we will enable them. But if there are some customizations, we will definitely require the ABAP help so that we will give our requirement, and the logic will be built, or the code basically will be written by the ABAPers. We just have to take those programs and then integrate within our VIM configurations as per the our requirement. This is how the VIM works.
Okay, then, thank you.
So any other questions also, please let me know. Anything you can please ask.
So we can run all the cycles, end-to-end cycles in the test system what you are going to provide to us.
Exactly. So whatever I have just told you, like from the uploading of the invoice, I'm not sure if OCR is integrated here. We have the archive server integration, but OCR I doubt it. So, but we will cover it theoretically. What are the configs will be required if you are working on OCR tools in the projects? But again, all the cycle from the invoice upload to the posting, how it happens in the background, as well as what are all the things we will be seeing it. Yeah.
And about some things on EDI setup and other things.
EDS, sorry.
EDI, because we receive the invoices
Okay,
from the
electronic. Right.
through
EDA
EDI, no?
channel. Yeah, EDA channel. When we cover up, the VIM channels, whatever we have, I can show you all the EDI related things also. Yes, configurations within VIM. So yeah, there are many topics actually here we have. So once we go into detail, you will be understanding what exactly, where exactly everything gets integrated. Yeah.
That archiving, what you said is OpenText archiving. Is it only for PIM invoices or other transactions also, like archiving of purchase orders, sales orders, and delivery documents like that also?
No, this is basically for the VIM invoices. There is yeah,
OpenText
OpenText.
archiving is useful only for VIM invoice archiving, but not for any other SAP objects, you mean to say?
It could be, but I'm not aware exactly. But again, VIM related, yes, it is. I mean, we create a content repository, and then VIM invoices are getting archived. But your point coming to POs, I think there is separate. I couldn't recollect. Let me get back to you on that. But yeah, as I am aware, VIM invoices are archived. Yeah. hmm any other questions?
Is VIM widely used in Europe and other places?
Right. I mean, in my experience, at least I have seen many European projects deals with VIM, and also, I mean, there are, again, Indian, Southeast Asian countries as well handling VIM, but majority, I would say, yeah, Europeans and US also. Yeah. So let me know if there are further any more questions, please. Okay, I think, yeah, this recordings and, this content will be shared by Subbu with you. You can get in touch with him for, for this recordings and the access related things to SAP, so that in next sessions we'll be starting up with the configuration part, where it will be useful for you to if you get the access, you can just practice whatever we are covering it up in the sessions. You can as well do it in your devices.
So when will next session start?
Sorry, Neha.
So when will next session start? What date?
We can continue with the sessions if you are we can continue except the weekends. We will have the sessions from Monday to Friday, 1 hour sessions each day. So yeah, it will be an overall, it will be covered in 45 days.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Okay, then if no any further questions, we can end the session for today. Okay, thank you all for joining.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you, Meghna.
Thanks.